verdict watch. In the Michael Dunn murder trial, he is, of course, accused of killing 17-year-old Jordan Davis about an argument over loud music. And it's an intense moment. These jurors have been deliberating nearly 20 hours now. We're in our fourth day of deliberations. And within 30 minutes of returning to the courthouse today, those jurors had a question. It was actually one question with 3 parts. And it may help us get a little idea of what they're thinking about. I'm joined by some people that are awaiting the verdict, just like you are. Judge Alex Ferrer of Judge Alex and criminal defense attorney Esther Panich. You guys, let's talk about this question because it is huge. In my opinion, it tells us they're seriously considering that self-defense. So let's talk about what the question is. They're saying, is the defense of self-defense something that would apply to just that one person, Jordan Davis, or all 4 in the car? Because remember, we have those 3 attempted murder charges. So Judge Alex, what was your reaction when you heard that this was the question?
Well, when I heard all 3 questions, because they asked 3 questions, my reaction was, that's the same question 3 times. They basically phrased it 3 different ways. That the self-defense apply to everybody if it applies to one. If justifiable use of deadly force applies to one, does it carry over to everybody? It's the same thing. But it obviously shows that the issue of self-defense is still on the table. And yesterday we didn't know where they were going when they said that they had that if they didn't reach a verdict on one count, could they still reach a verdict on all the other counts? We weren't really sure where that's panning out. But the conventional wisdom, I guess, was they're probably thinking of hanging on count 1 because they can't figure out if it's murder 1 or murder 2 or not guilty because of self-defense. But the other counts would seem to be the attempted murders and the shooting into an occupied vehicle. That was our thinking.
It seems they're trying to decide whether or not those attempted murder charges, you could apply the justifiable force to that. And that's really a point that we started to dig into a little bit because he kept firing as that car drove away, and he testified himself that it was Jordan Davis and only Jordan Davis that he felt threatened by.
That's correct. And just like the state needs to prove each and every element of each charge beyond a reasonable doubt for each person, for each attempted murder, the defense of self-defense would have to apply to each one as well. And so if the jurors are leaning towards convicting him of attempted murder ×3, plus possibly shooting into a vehicle, then he's already looking at probably 60 years. So while it may, if the jury comes back the way we're kind of thinking it might, either hung or not guilty on count 1, he's still looking at significant time. So he may have won the battle in the sense of getting out of the highest count, but he certainly didn't win anything else because he may be in prison for life if the jury is doing what we're reading the tea leaves and thinking they're doing.
We keep saying if, could, maybe, we'll do that until we get a verdict. And by the way, we are watching that courthouse in Jacksonville. And if we get any word, we will bring it to you. But, you know, we've been talking about how it seems so many people were in agreement that there was so much missing here. Why didn't he call police right after the shooting? Why would he keep shooting when the car was driving away? The ballistics evidence was very difficult to prove that Jordan Davis exited that car and maybe came towards him. So the fact that they're even considering that self-defense is pretty big. I mean, could they be considering first degree to manslaughter? Well,
yes, but remember that we're thinking of the jury as a unit, which they are, but they are also individuals until they reach a verdict. So you could have 7 of them who feel that he's guilty of first-degree murder and a couple who feel that he's guilty of second-degree murder, and some holdouts who say he's not guilty because they feel that he was really threatened and you know, flew off the handle and didn't use good judgment. So it doesn't mean that the whole jury's rejecting everything. They may very well hang on that count. But still, the ones who are hanging on that count, if they believe it was self-defense, are going to want to know, does self-defense apply to the other counts? Everybody else may be in agreement on the other counts, but they may be saying, wait a minute, does self-defense apply? But we're guessing what the jury's thinking. We really don't know. They could come back straight guilty after all of these questions. They could come back guilty across the board, or they can come back not guilty across the board. We don't know.
And let's make it clear, they asked the question yesterday, can we come back with a verdict on some of the counts and not come back on the other? And the judge said yes. So we could see a verdict come down, but hung on a larger verdict. So we're going to have to just wait and see.
We also don't know what that verdict would be. They didn't say, can we convict on some counts? So they could be thinking of acquitting on most of the counts and convicting and hanging or convicting on another.
We will see. The clock continues to tick. We continue to wait. We are on Verdict Watch. Judge Alex, Esther Panich, thanks so much for being with me. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.